Has anyone else ever learned disturbing things about their ex? Only after divorce or separation? We were married nearly 4 years together for 5.5. He could be funny, loving, and sweet, and we weathered so many life-altering and challenging experiences together. But he also routinely subjected me to verbal and emotional abuse with a small taste of the physical. I felt as though I served as his mother, therapist, bank, and screwdoll at the same time. The tension had been building for a long time, but there came a day where I could no longer tolerate his criticism, tantrums, invasions of my privacy, and generally walking on eggshells. I initiated the separation without ever looking back. We are still not formally divorced because he is trying to sue me for more money in the settlement. Since then, I've been lucky enough to find an incredible new partner who has only ever shown enormous regard and respect for me. I have healed tremendously from the trauma of my marriage. Recently, however, in a bizarre twist of fate, I connected with my ex, his girlfriend, before me. He was also with them for 5 years. We compare and contrasted our experiences with him, and it was unnerving to see how similarly he would treat us. How he adjusted his behavior to manipulate me more effectively, and most of all, to find out the lies he told me about her lies that were concocted and backed up by his immediate family. Perhaps in a bid to discredit her should she ever reach out to me and therefore continue enabling his abuse. On top of this, my ex's former girlfriend, whom my ex lent me to believe was still romantically pursuing him despite knowing about me, revealed to me that his contact with her was one-sided and that she would only reply nicely and politely because he had threatened to expose her nude. I knew my ex was capable of threatening and harassing behavior because he had previously threatened to get me fired from my job and tried to lie that I had committed horrible assault, but I would never have guessed he would stoop this low. My heart breaks for her, and I regret all the years I novelly believed the false and incoherent portrait of her he had drawn. The most disturbing things of all are these: one, during their relationship, she had come across his collection of depraved pornography, including snuff scenes where a girl was having her head smashed in. My ex had told me about this incident, but portrayed it as her being prudish and close-minded about porn. I knew that he was into degrading scenes, but the degree of violence in these videos that was described to me are shocking too. After they broke up not long before or after he threatened to expose her nudes, my ex, his former girlfriend, discovered an extensive collection of photographs that my ex stored online, prominently featuring barely legal or underage-looking Asian girls, including a photo of an actual child. I saw the receipts with my own eyes. For context, we, as in my ex's former girlfriend and myself, are Asian women who look considerably younger than we actually are, mid-30s, and both have very thin and potato physiques. As of right now, my ex has begun dating a 20-year-old Asian college girl who fits the exact same profile. He is nearly 40. I have distanced myself emotionally from my ex enough to not feel betrayed and blindsided if I heard it all. It's at the thought that my in-laws, my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, who I loved, trusted, and considered my own family, knew about his abusive tendencies from the start, and may have actively concealed them from me despite appearing supportive and on my side on the surface. It is a lot to process. I am glad to have found out the truth and grateful to my new friend for finally showing me the light, even if it meant revisiting very traumatic memories she had long blocked out, but is pretty devastating to consider. The fact that I shared the same bed with and readily offer my body to someone this awful for years and would never have guessed, even if I knew he was abusive. Had she not reached out to me, I would have been ignorant forever. Has anyone else been in this scenario? If so, what did you learn and how did you react? Now for the advices. Wow. Our stories are almost identical. My ex was very similar to yours, verbal and emotionally abusive. He would chase me in an aggressive manner, which he knew I hated from trauma of my older brother beating me up as a teenager, until I fall once he did it when I was pregnant with our second-born. I walked on eggshells too. He didn't want to do anything with me. He wanted me at work, cook clean, given screw and blowjobs whenever he wanted, and throw guys' night parties for his friends. He never went anywhere with me. We never took vacations unless my parents paid for it. He was just an all-around narcissistic asshole. During discovery, I found out he was committing tax fraud for 5 years. He was depositing the tax refund into his personal account, as well as collecting my stimulus checks. He claimed mine got lost and that we were getting audited, so we never received a tax refund in 5 years. He used the money we got for our wedding, a little more than 15K, call it, from my friends and family, since my parents were the one that paid for the wedding, to buy himself a sports car. He used the rest of the wedding gift money to open a joint bank account that I had no access to. I was very naive on this part. He took me to the bank, had me write my signature on all the checks addressed to me, and told me we were depositing it into our new joint bank account. It was never joint. I never had access. When I'd ask him when my card from the bank would come in the mail, he would say he's working on it, or there's an issue. There's a fault with the bank. I took his word for it. Yes, I was an idiot. That the only reason he isn't signing his parental rights away is because his dad would cut him out of the will. He isn't cut out to be a father. He doesn't want this life. Kids are expensive. He just wants to smoke weed and play video games while he manages his dad's bakery business from home. He also told me about a fantasy he has of me dressing up as Pocahontas. I'm South Asian. He's white. I braid my hair into pigtails and he yanks and pulls on my hair while I give him a blowjob. I had no words except what the screw. He said he sees himself as John Smith, an evil testicle maniac. His last girlfriend was with him 5 years. She was also Asian. He got her a visa from overseas. He said she was crazy. But now I realize he is crazy. His friends and family have convinced him that our second-born is not his son, and the reason I left him is no fault of his own. But because I found another man when he found out his son was in fact his, and I wasn't with anyone else. Since I was too busy being a slave wife, he has been having me to get remarried and have things go back to the perfect way they were.